Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice. Because today, being Friday, is another episode of Frightful Fridays. Now, I know it's been a while since I've done it. Life got in the way and all that, but I'm back for the moment. Okay, so the houses that October built, 2011, because there's two different versions of it, I guess. This movie is, I guess, supposed to be a documentary. It's still hard to tell whether it's actually supposed to be, just a movie, a horror movie posing as a documentary or not. But you have 5 friends who are going to be going across Texas or somewhere down south to do a documentary on haunted houses. Meaning not like the Amityville horror type of haunted houses, but every year you have these places that are set up to scare people, they go through and all that. So they're doing these. And so you have, they visit like 3 or 4 of them and, show all the different things there and have interviews with the cast and crew of each of the place. And during the interviews, you hear people talking about there are rumors that some places use real bodies or, real torture. And there's a couple of different places that they mention a place called the Blue Parrot. All right. So this intrigues the filmmakers, and they want to find this place because it's like every year it moves around, and it's really this secretive type of thing, and they want to set out and find the place and see if this is true or not. Now, this switches back and forth between the actual interviews and the interviews of the people, like the owners of the place, the people who do the scaring, and give sort of like behind the scenes things. Like there's they talk about there are some really well known scare actors, as they're called, who are known to come in and help fix places, give some ideas on how to do things. And they talk about one guy who took the job really seriously, was really good at it, and one of the things they say is they don't do background checks on these people, and so you don't know who you're actually getting to do this stuff. And one guy, we think, jokes that he was doing it as community service. But they talk about this one guy who did it, and he went home one day and he just slaughtered his family in real life. And they gave a name, and I looked that name up, and that actually happened. So I'm not sure if they actually I'm fairly sure this is not a real documentary, but that actually did happen. So there are some people who there's some pretty weird people going on working at those places. I don't want to give the ending away. But it's an hour and 34 minutes. And just put it this way, it gets to the point where you don't get to the place until about 20 minutes before the end of the movie. Which sounds about right, I guess, for the late final act. And I have to tell you, the movie was... The premise was cool. Some of the places that they showed were really kind of cool. Whether they were real or not, they're kind of cool. There are some really kind of freaky people in these things, but some of the stories they told about that sounds believable, But the payoff at the end, no. There's just certain things that happened here where, there's, red flag after red flag after red flag after red flag, and these people are like, oh, well, we need it for the movie. So these people are just incredibly stupid in real life. Or it's just kind of badly written. Yeah. I'm assuming. Either way, the payoff at the end was not good. It did hold my interest a little bit at the beginning, just because of the discussions between the people doing the documentary on stuff. There's more of that than the horror, the haunted houses, because, which, if it's supposed to be a documentary on that, you'd think they'd have more on that instead of the people arguing over stuff. Which wasn't anywhere near as interesting as, the interviews and hearing the people sit there and say, well, there's, this place here where we talk about this, where we hear about this, we hear about this. And you could hear some stuff doing some, you could use more of them investigating it, but they don't do that. So I'm just going to have to sit here and not recommend this. I'm going to have to give it about a 2.5 out of 5. Because there were some interesting parts, and the views of inside the haunted houses were pretty cool. And some of the stories and stuff were kind of cool. But overall, what looked like it was going to be a slow burn was a slow fizzle. And the payoff at the end just wasn't good at all. So it would have been a higher score if they had actually stuck the landing, which they didn't. And if this was real, the ending doesn't make any sense at all. But anyway, let me know what you thought of it, if you watched it, if you liked it or not. But like, subscribe, possibly share, and most of all, enjoy your horror movies.